Okay, today we're gonna take off the tie rod on the passenger side of the 65 Chevelle, and we're gonna replace it with the new one. There's the old one hanging there. We've already done the driver's side, so when it's done, it'll look like that. If you can see that, shine some light over that. There you go. You can see we have the disc brake set up on that side. You can see the new tie rods. So here you have the outer tie rod, which of course goes towards the outside of the car. The inner tie rod goes to the inner side of the car. So we're going to take that off and replace it with some brand new ones, with new bushings, new adjustment collar, new castle nut, new cotter pin. Alright, so first thing I want to do is take off the cotter pin. Try not to block the view too much. And what's interesting here is looking at this, it's not a cotter pin. Somebody used like a piece of wire or something to put in there. So that's out. Next thing I want to do is take off this castle nut. Of course, I don't know what size it is. Hold on. Okay, so this is a 5/8 bolt that is on here, or nut. Let's see if we can do this without a pry bar. Try to loosen it up. The rubber mallet. And there it goes. Pretty easy to loosen those up. After a couple turns, these are usually pretty loose enough to get them off by hand. A thing to remember, a thing to help you identify the inner from the outer tie rods is the inner tie rod zerk is points off to the side, and the outer tie rod points down. It's hard to see that one, but I guess we'll show you that in a minute. So now we've got to separate this. Needs a little more force than that, I guess. Okay, so we'll try to use the steel hammer just to straighten any jingle right now. So we've got the old tie rod out. That's this one. The new tie rod is here. So I've got a new adjusting sleeve. Everything new is on this. The bushings, the bolts, everything comes like that. So what you want to do is get them together here and make sure they're both about the same size. Once you get it installed, unless you have an alignment machine, you're gonna have to take it to a shop to get them lined for them to adjust it perfectly. One thing to remember, the instructions say as you tighten the clamps around the sleeve, don't have the opening at the same place that the opening to the clamp is in the sleeve. Don't have them the same way, and you see they did that correctly on this old one. There's the opening, there's the opening to the clamps, so they did that right. So these work, if you know what a turnbuckle is, you turn it one way and it'll bring both sides in. If you turn it the other way, it brings both sides out. And if you're trying to put this together, remember one side is left threads, one side is right threads. So you'll be threading, instead of the old lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, it's lefty-loosey, righty-loosey. So think about that. Anyway, so I've already got them turned in and adjusted about the right size. I'll put the clamps kind of snug, put them under the car, and I don't want to tighten these till I know they're in a good spot under the car that the mechanic can get to when they go to adjust it. Okay, back underneath. Gonna see if we can push that tie rod up the same way it came out. Of course, getting my camera adjusted is just as much of a pain. Alright. Here's the tie rod end. You see the boot is on there and the grease fittings out here. And remember, you can't grease this until you torque this down because the grease will just come out, right? So we want to take this. All right. So now I'm going to get the castle nut. So I'll snug it up before we torque it. The torque spec is 35 pounds. We'll pull this out. Try to take note of where your cotter pinhole is so that you don't have to search for that too much. Okay, so I have my torque wrench set to 35 pounds. It's a click type torque wrench, so if I can get it tight enough, it'll eventually click and we'll know it's tight. That click is just the reverse ratchet, so that's not what we're looking for. It'll click as you're doing the tension stroke. Got a long way to go, it seems. Strange angle from the ground. Getting closer, not quite. Seems tight enough, but we'll see. There it is. You hear that? That was the click. All right, so that's on. That's tight. So now we have to find the hole for the cotter pin and put that in. And because I see the cotter pin hole is a little bit behind this little castle protrusion, I'm going to tighten it a little more to get to the right spot. Okay, so the cotter pin slipped in. I bent the sides over, as you can see. It's nice and snug. So that should be where it goes. And then later on, after we get the disc brake parts on, the steering knuckle will attach to this outer tie rod end here, and then we'll snug that one up and we'll be done with tie rods.